Hello, everyone, and thank you all for listening in and participating in this class. Now, this class is going to be about the belief that external circumstances are the cause of our happiness. So, we're going to challenge our beliefs, and we're going to do this in a rational, logical way. And the reason why this is important is because going through this, there might be some subtleties, and it is a deep topic, and our mind will challenge these belief systems or what we're setting out right now, what we're explaining. And basically, we'll have to overcome. So keep an open mind, try to listen to the logic and reasoning, and then go through it yourself with logical, reasonable thinking and using your own personal experiences to see what holds from a logical reasoning perspective and also from the perspective of cause and effect, which is an important and fundamental aspect of all the reasonings we do here. So, this class is to look at the causes of happiness and to look where we're placing them or where we're attaching our happiness to. Now, we have a general sense that, or belief, that happiness is coming from our external circumstances. And why is this coming about, this whole questioning? And it comes from the questioning of our basic fundamental wishes. So, our basic fundamental wishes, what are they? And we might see from a superficial perspective, it's like, oh, well, I want good food, I want a good house or money, I want to be able to travel, I want to have good friends, I want to have good partner, I want to have many partner, whatever. Doesn't matter what it is. I want to have, doesn't matter what it is, all the enjoyments we might be thinking about. And we might be thinking of just that's it. And so why? And we rarely ask the question of why do I want these things? Why do I want a balanced lifestyle? Why do I want to work less? Why do I want this? And so on and so forth. And there's an unquestioned belief behind those desires. And this is what we're going to explore in this class. And we're going to deep dive into these questions and into our desires and to see if they achieve what we're really longing for. So, at first glance, all these desires, we might say, well, it's going to make me a fulfilling life. That's the point, right? And then we have to ask, well, why? Why do I want these things? Because I want to feel better. Isn't that it? I want to feel satisfied. I want to be fulfilled, and so on. So we have all these positive words to explain why we want these things, believing without questioning that these things are going to bring about that feeling. And do we ask ourselves, is it possible? And we usually don't. We're usually bombarded from the day we're born with the message that gathering all these external conditions is the purpose of our life, is the meaning of life, and it's what's going to bring this satisfaction and this happiness. And even if intellectually we might be thinking, well, no, I know money doesn't buy happiness. We all know that. It's superficial and materialistic. And so it's more about, experiences, going on vacation and getting this experience and that experience. Okay? But can they actually be the cause of our happiness? So that's the true question that we rarely dive into to see if it holds up logically and rationally. And this is why coming back to the notions of cause and effect is of fundamental importance. Why? Because cause and effect stipulates that a cause and its effect is definite, meaning if I assemble all the causes and conditions, then I will get the desired effect. Now, the effect that we're looking for now is called happiness or well being. So sometimes it depends on uh, the way we might see happiness. Depends if it's elated or we say bliss, and there's so many words. But where we're trying to bring the discussion here is any scale of well-being. So there's negative, neutral, and positive. And as soon as there's a slight hint of it's better, so there's some positive to it, or there's a positive spin or connotation to what we're going to do, I'm going to use, so we're going to use the word happiness here. Yeah. So the word happiness is to talk about the scale of positivity, no matter how small. And we have different words to express that, but in this class, keep to mind that happiness is any scale of positivity. So we're looking for this happiness, and it usually comes from this inner peace, meaning our mind is peaceful enough to enjoy something. Yeah. So cause and effect states that if I repeat the causes, I get the same effect. And that usually a cause cannot have completely opposing effects. Now, in this case, the opposing effects we're talking about. So, if we're talking about happiness, the opposing, the opponents or the direct opposite of happiness is suffering. This negativity, negative mind, heavy mind. And it's disturbed the mind. And if we look at all these external conditions, are they really a cause of happiness if I repeat them? And a good example and very simple thought experiment that we could do is food. If we believe food is a cause of well being, then if I keep eating, I will feel better and better and better. Yet we know from our own experience that food is actually one of the biggest causes of ill health. If we keep indulging in food, it's actually going to create more problems than anything else. So, therefore, this goes to show that food is not the cause of happiness. And basically, this is important because then it extends this logical analysis just as that external conditions, no matter what it be. We could say sex, drugs, partners, family, friends, no matter what we pick. If we repeat it back to back with nonstop, if it was a true cause of happiness, it would cause the same effect every single time. Yet what we see is that it's actually causing suffering over and over. Slowly, slowly, it's increasing problems if we just keep repeating it over and over again back to back. So therefore, this is a very powerful analogy and powerful analysis to show us that happiness is not coming from those external things. And we're so engaged, we're so involved in that belief system. All our marketing is geared towards that, where we project an image as if this thing will give us pure happiness, no matter what we look, any publicity we look at. It's a projection of that belief system, and we buy into it. And look at the world around us. Look at what it's creating. It's creating where we need to always get something new. We're never satisfied. We're creating enormous amounts of pollution because we always consume over and over again because we have it, we consume it, but it's gone. And once it's gone, it means our happiness is gone with it. So therefore, we need to replace it. And we go to the next external condition. And we just have to look at it at a global scale. Every living being is doing this, every human being that is geared towards this belief, that has this belief system, is creating these causes. And therefore, on a global scale, you could see that it's causing more problems than anything else. We might believe that technology is helping us. In and of itself, technology does not have that power. It's what we project onto it. And unfortunately, we might be projecting that it's a cause of well-being and happiness. And it will never be the cause of well-being and happiness because it's still an external condition. And we could use our personal experiences to really look into this analysis to see if it makes sense or not. Use your own experiences and look at the world around us. The world in which we live in is a reflection of the people that live in it, of the beings that live in it. And we've polluted everything from the waters, the air, the earth. Everything is polluted nowadays because of this constant desire that is wishing for these external things to happen for well-being. And we could take other analogies. We could be in the most beautiful of places and still get angry. If an external circumstance were the true cause of happiness, it would not be possible to get angry in one of the most beautiful places. It wouldn't be feasible if it was a true cause of happiness because the happiness would be coming from this external circumstance. It would be caused by it. And since we would be basking in it, we should never feel unhappy. Yet, that is not what we experience personally. Therefore, these analyses, and this uh, logical thinking is there to raise the awareness that happiness is not coming from external circumstances. And if we attach our happiness to these things, and that's what we're doing when we say happiness is coming from out there, we're saying we're attaching it, we're putting it all in that basket. And what happens when that thing disappears? When it's gone? Our happiness is gone with it. Our happiness disappears. Our peace of mind is no longer maintained. Our peace of mind is destroyed, and then we start getting what we call sometimes an itch, kind of like I'm unsatisfied. There's this hole. There's this dissatisfaction that sets in. Why? Because that thing left us. It's gone. And this is what leads to fear and anxiety. Because we're scared that our happiness will disappear. Because we are no longer in control. We're like on a roller coaster ride on which we have no control. And if we look back at our own experiences, we'll see that things don't always go the way we want them to go. We don't always get what we want. And we don't always get them when we want them either. So if we look at it mathematically speaking, how much time is taken of your life chasing these external circumstances versus having them? That means most of the time we're left in a dissatisfied state of mind. Because once we get what we want, it's usually very fleeting. We get what we want and it's gone. And we're back to the next thing. Exactly like an addiction. We're addicted to these external circumstances. And it's completely out of our control because we have no control over external circumstances. So no matter what happens externally, it's what dictates our peace of mind and our happiness. Is that what we really want? So if we come back to what our fundamental wishes are, we really just want to be happy and free from suffering. But we keep looking for them in the wrong places. We keep looking for them on external circumstances, people, pleasures, situations, locations, and so on. And they'll never create what we really want. So logically, if we get to the point where it's not external, and this is simple, what's not external? It's internal. And what is internal? It's in our own mind. Basically, our inner peace is the cause of happiness. And our inner peace comes from our own mind, not looking to external circumstances, people, pleasures, locations for that happiness. Basically, the negation of looking for happiness in external circumstances, saying, not looking for happiness in external circumstances, not believing that external circumstances are the cause of my happiness. That's where I'm trying to shift. Because our inner peace, if we attach it to external circumstances, is quickly dissolved. And no matter what we're given, and we could look at our own experiences. Let's say I have something very good to eat, but I'm not in the good mood. Will I be able to enjoy whatever's in front of me? No. So, true source of happiness is inner peace, and inner peace comes from the letting go of the belief that happiness comes from external circumstances. And this is very difficult to do because we have the way the way this feeling, the way it occurs in our mind, the way it arises, is that it's very sly. Why? Because there's something that appears before us, and we have a pleasant feeling that appears in our mind. We have a pleasant sensation. Therefore, we it's easy to fall into the trap that the pleasant sensation seems to be coming from this external circumstance. And we fall victim to that trap if we don't pay attention. And that's why it's very difficult to overcome at the beginning. And we'll see that it's practically everywhere. As soon as we have to learn the way it arises, even in our mind, we see something pleasant, then we start exaggerating its qualities. Then we get attached to it. So it was like we need it. We have this burning desire to attain it. And it's a complete warping of reality, and which we call a delusion. It's delusional in the sense that it's no longer a view of reality because we've projected onto this thing the cause of happiness and only to see its good things. For instance, I see a beautiful person and all I could think about is only their good qualities. It's pleasant, it's a pleasant scenery, and I start projecting things onto this person. And I forget everything else realistically, that this person has flesh, blood, bones, and that go they they go to the bathroom, that they could get sick, their bodies get sick, that these bodies grow old, and that these bodies die. We forget everything about that. It's that we only see what we project the good qualities on it, and we get so involved in that projection, which is a complete hallucination of reality. It's a fiction that we create in our mind, completely disconnected from reality. And then we fall trapped in it. I need it. I want it because that's the cause. That's what's going to make me feel better. And we fall victim to it. And we could see that that's the onset of addiction. It will never cause happiness. It's just a temporary reduction of suffering. We're just changing our suffering from one place to the next. I'm hungry, I eat. But food itself is not a cause of happiness. I've just moved my pain, my suffering, my problems from one place to another. Because now if I keep eating, food is the problem. So then I change it again. I go to something else. So this belief is the problem. And we have to really look at our personal lives, look at our experiences to see the truth in this, to see from a logical analysis and the use of cause and effect to really come to see if this is true or not. Please do the test. Look in your personal experiences. Why is this important? Because we want to be happy and free from suffering. But if we don't know the true causes of happiness, how can we ever achieve it? It's as if we have a target, but our eyes are closed and we're trying to hit it. Or even worse, we've created a fictional target and we're shooting for that one, not believing that it's the wrong target. And I keep aiming at this target unceasingly, really relentlessly. And we keep asking ourselves, why am I not happier? Why am I not happier? And years pass. And we are still in a hole. We're still looking for the next thing. And we have so many examples. Even if we look outside, we have individuals that have everything at their disposal. They have riches and wealth, resources beyond what they're even capable of using. Yet they're not happy. Some even commit suicide. If money and resources were really the true cause of happiness, you wouldn't have these individuals that would actually go all the way to committing suicide if they have everything. And the reason why we should look in our mind, because if we're admiring them, and we see this all the time in social media where we're saying, oh, road to riches, and we're brought to admire this, it automatically feeds into that belief system. Because if we're admiring it, it means that we believe it to be the cause of well-being. And putting it in another way, if we look at our mind, if at the moment, and we might be saying, well, I'm okay. But if something else, and I say, well, if I would have this, it'd be even better. This feeling of even better, or just, yeah, just, it would be good. Just a notch better. If there's this feeling that it would bring us a notch above where we are right now, it implies that at the moment we're not as good as we can be. So therefore, it means it's an indication that we have this belief that this external circumstance is the cause of our happiness, which is, again, false. It's not based in reality. And we have to be able to diagnose our own mind and see it, to start seeing these feelings, the way we start getting glued to things, and the way we start projecting on these qualities and say, oh, I need it. I need this thing. Otherwise, I'm not well. So we need to start looking into that. And we need to start reversing that belief. If we don't do any work in reversing that belief consciously, effortfully, it will never happen on its own. It's all about a matter of practice. If we practice and train our mind, we will achieve the letting go of that belief. But if we don't do anything actively to train our mind, there's no way that this belief will just disappear. It's so ingrained in our everyday thinking. And it's important to see that this is just a bad habit. It's just a bad habit of thinking. And why this is important is that we don't feel hopeless as if this is the way I am. There's nothing I could do. And that's false. We could change our mind. We just need to train our mind. And this is what these classes are about. They're training a mind. We need to train our mind all the time. And this one in particular is so pervasive that we need to do it over and over and over and over again. It's the only way we'll let go of things. And we could do this on simple things. Let's say there's this feeling, I need to eat this thing. And we ask ourselves, why? Am I not feeling as good as I can be right now? And there's this itch, this constant itch of, no, I need it, I need it. And we should remind us, this thing that I'm going for is actually not a cause of happiness. So why am I going for it? It's not. And we could remind ourselves every day, there's so many opportunities that we have to remind ourselves that, wait, this thing is not the cause of happiness. And remember, this is not to go from one extreme to the next where we're saying, I abandon everything. And that's a misinterpretation of what that means. We're flip-flopping from one extreme to the next, meaning the external things are not the cause of happiness, therefore I don't need anything. And we know that's not true either. We need to have a roof over our head, we need to eat, we need to sleep, we need shelter, and so on. And these are the basic necessities to live. So it's not that we don't abandon our friends, our family, and go live in a cave. Of course not. That means we've misinterpreted these instructions. Why? Because if we keep this belief system and end up in a cave, we're just going to go crazy in that cave because we didn't really let go of the belief. So we're not abandoning things. We're not abandoning family and friends. We're not saying not to take care of your body. We're not saying to just let go of everything and go live in a cave. Of course not. That's not practical and it doesn't make sense. The difference is there's a middle where I function in society. I function with others. I don't abandon family and friends. I don't abandon the people around me that need help. What I abandon is a belief system saying these external things are the cause of my happiness. That's what I'm letting go of. I'm not actually letting go of things. Why? Because saying I'm going to be happier without them is still an external circumstance. It's still saying I'm going to be better without an external circumstance. It's still an external circumstance, whether we say with it or without it. It's like saying I'll be better if I don't see this person that I dislike. Not true. Okay? At the beginning, we might need to do that. Meaning, if some objects are too strong for us, sometimes we need to shelter ourselves because we know the way our mind is going to react. This is just an indication that we have more training to do. And eventually, when our mind is more trained and more peaceful, we'll be able to re-expose ourselves to all these external circumstances and not get overwhelmed. So, important, this is not about abandoning everything because feeling or thinking I'm going to be happier without it is still the belief. Where we're going is much more deeper and more subtle. It's saying the things I see, things out there externally, or any circumstance I wish for is actually not a cause of happiness. That's it. I don't abandon them. I still have to take care of things. But they're no longer going to be the cause of my happiness. That's it. So that's what we're reminded. And what it's going to achieve once we have a more peaceful mind where it's no longer on a roller coaster ride with regards to our external circumstances is that we'll be able to bring our best self wherever we go, as opposed to being victims of our external circumstances. That means we're scared of what's going to happen externally because we don't know how our mind is going to behave and react. Actually, we do know. If we don't get rid of this belief, we're at the whim of everything that is uncontrolled. Whereas bringing it back internally, bringing, because that's the only thing we actually can control, it means that we can bring our best self, our happiest self, wherever we go. And that's the difference. So in meditation, we're going to meditate on this specifically, on the proper or the belief that causes happiness, meaning the negation of the belief. So the belief, the belief that causes suffering, or the problematic belief, is the belief that external circumstances are the cause of happiness. And what we're going to go through is saying, logically, does not make sense. Reuse the food example, reuse any example where if you repeat it over and over again, we'll see that it will just cause more problems than anything else. Showing that external circumstances are not the cause of happiness. And therefore, then we transition in the mind that says external circumstances are not the cause of happiness. And that's it. We're basically just removing that attribute. So it's not that we abandon it, we're just saying external circumstances are not the cause of happiness. That's it. I'm no longer attributing them that quality. That's all I'm removing and saying they don't have that quality. They're there. I have to work with them, but they don't have the quality of causing happiness. That's my mind has the quality of causing happiness, not external circumstances. And that's what we're going to meditate on. We're going to repeat it over and over again with conviction. We have to bring it deep in our heart. It has to touch our heart. External circumstances are not the cause of happiness. External circumstances cannot cause happiness. And we repeat that until there's this realization. We're trying to feel it. And it's like, oh my God, wow. External circumstances are not the cause of happiness. What have I been doing for so long? External circumstances are not the cause of happiness. I'm looking at the wrong place. It's my mind. I need to train my mind. And that's where we have to get to this. Wow. Okay. External circumstances are not the cause of happiness. Go there. See what it means for you. And it's okay. Whatever feeling appears, it's okay. It means you're doing it right. But then you repeat, external circumstances are not the cause of happiness. And we meditate on that knowledge, on that wisdom. Thank you.